So we want to get started. And we know tonight is the last night of Hanukkah. The last night of Hanukkah, the Hasidim call it Zot Hanukkah. A special name called Zot Hanukkah. Why is it called Zot Hanukkah? Zot Hanukkah is actually based on the Parashat. Anyone who goes to shul in the morning knows that tomorrow one of the things we read is Zot Hanukkah. And therefore they call the 8th night Zot Hanukkah. But we should know something about the 8th night of Hanukkah, which is tonight, is one of the most auspicious times of the year, one of the greatest times of the year for tefillot. We know the Arizal, he writes down that the 8th day is on a higher level than every other day of Hanukkah. Every day of Hanukkah we know what a great koach, we'll talk about what a great koach it is, what a great strength it is to look at the menorah lights. It says the 8th day is on a much higher level. On a much higher level. Ad kedei kach, the Hasidim write that it's a great day for repentance. It's likened to like Yamim Noraim, like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim. And there was a Rabbi Israel of Ruzin, and he writes that what the righteous people, the tzaddikim, can do on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim, all the things that they can bring down into the world on Yom Kippurim and Rosh Hashanah, a simpleton, a regular person can bring down during the 8th night. It's a very auspicious time for prayer. So on, this is actually what I came to talk about. The Maharal Miprag says that the 8th day is above nature. The 7 days equal nature. We know the 7 days in a week. The 8th day is above nature. Tonight is a night where it's above nature. Now why is it important? We're getting to the point everyone wants to hear. There's 3 special sgulot, 3 special things that a person can pray for tonight that have a very strong power. One of them is for children. For children. The Bnei Yisachar says anyone in the world, chas v'shalom, who has a problem having children, tonight is a night for them to pray for them. And even if they have children, if they don't have righteous children, tonight's the night to pray for them. Another thing. It said if a person missed something during Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim, he forgot to repent and to forget something, he has until tonight to clean it. Tonight he can repent for what he didn't repent on Yom Kippurim. The second thing that comes down, that's the Hasidim. And the third thing comes down for Amrei Noam. He writes down that tonight is a very auspicious time for Parnasah. A person who wants to pray on his livelihood, tonight is the night for a person to pray on his livelihood. And he brings a proof. He says on the Shemini Atzeret, which is the 8th day, it's the 8th day of the Chag Sukkot. Shemini Atzeret. We pray for rain. What's rain? Masechet Ta'anit says rain is likened to money. That a person prays on 8th day for money. So too tonight is a great day for a person to pray for this money. So we see that tonight is a very, very auspicious time for prayer. A very great time for prayer. So obviously, I implore everyone here and everyone watching, if you get to watch it in time, to pray, even tomorrow morning, to pray as much as you can for these things. Because this is a great time to pray, not for just this, for anything in the whole entire world. It's a very powerful time. What does that mean? We say every Hanukkah, in their days, in our days. What does it mean in their days, in our days? The strength that you brought down into the world. When the Maccabim destroyed thousands of people by themselves. 5 brothers, went out against the war, against thousands of people, and they won. The same miracles that came down into the world, then, so too they come down now. That same energy in the world still exists. So now is a very auspicious time for prayer. This is why I want to just talk about the first part of the night. Obviously, you know this week's Parashat Mikeitz. It actually starts off a little bit earlier. We see that Yosef HaTzadik, he passes the biggest test in the whole entire world. Ad kedei kach, he's one of the only people that Torah calls a tzaddik. Moshe doesn't say tzaddik, says Rabbeinu. Yosef, one of the only people that says tzaddik on him. Why is it tzaddik on Yosef? One of the only people. Why? Because he was over one of the hardest tests. 17, 18-year-old boy in the peak of his vigor. We spoke about it last week. He goes to Mitzrayim. He's by himself. No family, no friends, no Jews around him. He's in the middle of Las Vegas. No other Jews around. No Bet Chabad. No Hanukkah. No nothing. Okay. All of a sudden comes the most beautiful woman in the world from Egypt. Comes to him. She was a beautiful, beautiful woman. Eshet Potifar. And she's screaming at him. Sleep with me. Screaming at him. You understand what I'm screaming to you? Rashi says she would change her clothes 3 times every day. She would go in the morning, different dress, evening, different dress, and the nighttime, different dress. Just to entice him. Everything she could possibly do to bring him into the bed, and he wouldn't do it. And Ad kedei kach, one time she caught an opportunity, she caught him alone, and she grabbed his shirt, and Yosef ran out of the room. She gave out a big scream. All the guards came, and said, "What's going on over here? Oh, this Jew tried to sleep with me." And all of a sudden the king comes back, and he hears that Yosef tried to sleep with his wife. Obviously he didn't believe his wife. He knew that Yosef was a very righteous person. But the news already went out. So what did he do? He put Yosef in jail. 10 years, Yosef was supposed to be in jail. 10 years versus the 10 brothers that he has. Every year for another brother, because he spoke bad about his brothers. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And why was he in jail for 2 extra years? What happened when Yosef went to jail? There was 2 other people. He went to a special jail, not a regular. He didn't go to an ordinary jail. He went to a special jail for only the people who were in the kingship. It was like a king's special jail. It was like when you get today there's bookings, there's Rikers Islands, and there's federal prison. You know what federal prison is? Federal prison, when you're playing tennis, mat court, you have a cell phone, you're chilling over there, you get a steak for dinner and potatoes. That was where Yosef had to go, because at the end of the day, he didn't do anything wrong there, mate. So that's where he went. And who comes to meet him over there? The cupbearer and the baker of Paro, of the king. Comes the cupbearer and the baker. Now each one of them on the same night, one night, have a dream. The cupbearer had a dream. All of a sudden, I'm in the vineyard. I see 3 grapevines come out. And they barely blossom. They didn't even blossom. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, they blossom and they give out these big, beautiful, juicy grapes. I take the grapes, I squeeze them into the cup of Paro that was in my hand, and I hand it to Paro's hand. What's the dream? Yosef tells him, this means in 3 days, Paro's going to call you back, and you're going to get restored to your position as the cupbearer. You're going to keep on placing the cup in his hand. And he tells him, but I want you to do 2 things. One thing, I want you to remember me, and I want you to mention me. 2 things he said. Remember me and mention me. For every word, remember me, 1 year. For mention me, another year. That's why he got an extra 2 years. Why? Choser emunah. Hashem says, you have to have faith in me. What are you putting your faith in another person? As Chazal teaches us, when a person places his faith in another person, Hashem says, I'll leave you in his hands. And what happened? He said, I'm going to be Boteach with the cupbearer. He's going to go over there, he's going to remember me. And literally, as soon as he goes back to his position, and the cupbearer forgot Yosef. Literally, boom, like that. When you Boteach b'basar v'dam, when you Boteach and you put your faith in a person, the nature of people is to forget, to be laxed. They're not going to always be in your favor. But when you place your faith in Hashem, 100% of the time, there will always be a Yeshua. Yosef learned that the hard way, 2 extra years. But you want to see the beauty of God? You want to see how God works? Seems like a bad thing, right? 2 extra years in prison seems pretty bad. Nachon? We know that we were decreed to go down to Egypt. The Jewish people will go down to Egypt to be slaves for 400 years. Right? 400 years from when? From when Yitzchak was born. This means Yosef was in jail for 2 extra years. If he wouldn't have been in jail 2 extra years, what would have happened? He wouldn't have been in jail 2 extra years, what would have happened? The Jews would have came down 2 years earlier. 2 years earlier to Mitzrayim, and we had 2 extra years as slaves when they were slaving us and killing us and putting babies as bricks. All the suffering we had, 2 years God saved us in this one thing. So even when Hashem sometimes does something that seems a little bit on the face level bad, you see in the end, Kodesh Baruch Hu shows you how that's good. Now what happened? 2 years. Mikeitz time. 2 years sitting over there. Another chesed that came out of it. What happened during those 2 years? The Midrash relates, Paro had 2 dreams. One dream, he sees, coming from the Nile, 7 fat, robust cows. Shtabach Shem Ola'ad, big cows like this. They came out beautiful and thick. Nice fat cows. Come out from the Nile. 7 beautiful cows. And after them, who follows? 7 skinny, malnourished cows follow right after. And what happens? The 7 skinny cows eat the 7 heavy cows, and they look exactly the same. Imagine this. It's like when you go out with your friend. You know when you're a heavy set guy? Like me, because I'm naturally heavy set. If I look at a piece of pizza, I gain 5 pounds. But you always have that skinny guy, you go out to eat with him, shtabach shem ola'ad, 15 mozzarella sticks, pizza, pasta, the whole 9 yards. He comes out over there, makel. איך זה יכול להיות? תסביר לי, what's the cheat code, Habibi? What, up, down, left, right? Which analog sticks are you using? Huh? I can't even smell a pizzeria without getting 5 pounds. You see the Paro, they ate him and nothing changed to their appearance. A second dream he has. What's the second dream? Second dream he has 7 ears of grain, which basically means wheat. 7 ears of grain, fat, big, heavy. On one stalk, you had a lot of ears of grain. And all of a sudden, 7 skinny, fragile, barely standing ears of grain. And again, they swallow these ears of grain. And makore, again, they stay exactly the same. Nothing changed. And then he has a third dream. V'hine halom. The pasuk says, V'hine halom, to teach us, he had a third dream. What was the third dream? God literally showed him the interpretation of the dreams and then made him forget it. And for 2 consecutive years, every single day, he's having the 2 dreams of the cow and the ears of grain. He doesn't know what's going on. So what does he do? He calls every single person in the Egyptian kingdom. He says, who can interpret my dream? Every dream bearer, every necromancer, every astrologer, every wise man, everyone came to try and interpret the dream. And everyone that came, what did Paro tell him? Nah, no, nah. So I have a question on this. If someone's coming to interpret your dream, how do you know what's the right interpretation? Unless you know what the interpretation is. Nobody was sparking that memory in his mind of what it was. 2 years he's trying, until one day the cupbearer says, oh, Shachachti et Yosef. Oh, I remembered. There actually was a guy in prison who I forgot to mention him 2 years ago. He interpreted my dream in the baker's dream, and exactly what he told us came true. Bijuk, what he said came true, exactly. But you should know, he's a Hebrew, he's young, and he's a slave. Now, why did he say these things? He was afraid that Yosef would come into power, because he would come and interpret the dreams correctly. Paro would put him into power. You forgot me? 2 years you forgot me? You lose your job. So he was afraid he's going to lose his job. So what did he do? He said, I'm going to tell him he's a youth. I'm a youth. If he's young, then he's stupid. Now, I'm not saying this. He said that. If he's young, then he's stupid. If he's a slave, they had a law in Egypt. If you weren't a free man, if you weren't in a family of royalty, if you're a slave, you can never go to kingship. Imagine now a guy who's a slave goes to become king. Maning apo. It's almost like Donald Trump becoming president. Wait a second. No. What happened over here? You see, it's impossible. And I want to think Hebrew. Why Hebrew? We see later on when the brothers come down, when the brothers come to meet Yosef, they go sit down and eat. And the Egyptians, where do they sit? Now at this point, Yosef is already the viceroy. He's already the second in command. And the Egyptians who are with him, who work for him, where are they sitting? In a whole different table. Why? Because it's a to'ava. It was disgusting for them to eat with the Jewish people. They considered us to be repulsive. Why do they consider us to be repulsive? Because we ate sheep and lamb, and they worship the sheep and the lamb. He said, how can you dare you eat our God? If I can eat your God, he's a God? Right? But they don't want to eat with us, to'ava. So he said he's a Hebrew. You see that he's disgusting. So right away you see, we talked about it earlier, when you botech in a person, when you put your faith in a person, at the end of the day you should know, first things first, the Gemara says, En nemanut b'goyim, which basically means that when a person has the ability to win you over, to benefit himself and to screw you over, just believe you, he's going to screw you over to benefit himself. The Jews, however, they have a special ability to self-sacrifice. Where did they learn that from? From the Avot. The Jews, they say, you know what, I'm going to lose in the deal, but it's another Jew. What can I do? What can I do as a Jew? I'm not going to do him dirty. Right? Today I got a phone call. The guy tells me, you need to sign this lease. Now he sends me the lease, and we talked about revising it. And I spoke to the owner, and I'm telling him, this is what you have to do. He didn't change it. He left it the way it was. And the way it was benefits me. Now his lawyer sends me the lease in the email. He tells me, sign it already. We're waiting to close the deal. I open it up. I see they didn't change it. I could have signed it and left it. No one was even looking. And then later on, you're legally obligated. You already signed the document. Right away, I called the lawyer, because it happened to be the guy's a Jew. So I said, what am I going to do? I called the lawyer. My friend, change the document. He goes, what do you mean? I said, we agreed to something else, and it's not in there. So go and revise it. He goes to me, what are you talking about? He opens it up, he sees it's not there. He goes, what? Why would you? I told him, what do you think I'm going to be? I'm an honest guy. I'm trying to cheat you? Who am I cheating? I'm only cheating myself. I think I'm going to cheat you. I'm going to write this document, sign, and later on, he's going to come back to me. Karma's going to come back to me. But we see that even when he did good, quote unquote, did good, he told him about Yosef, he already undermined him. Then they go get Yosef in prison after 12 years. Imagine what he's looking like. He's already with the beard, Zachkan, he's already became a rabbi. Right? 12 years over there. At this point, he's already holding, 17 when he came down, 12 years in prison. How old is the guy already? He's already with a long beard, already with the long hair. They come, they give him a shave, they put him in front of Paro. And Paro says, let's see if you can interpret my dream. Now imagine this, 2 years he's trying. 2 years, everywhere you can possibly imagine, every person you can possibly go to, he goes to them. And he asked them, and no one. Until Yosef comes, now Yosef is standing over there, and what does he tell him? We hear you are the famous dream interpreter. That only you can interpret my dream. Now what is Yosef supposed to say? Yeah, you're right. Me, you know I am. You know I am. Number one dream interpreter in town. Right? What anyone else is going to do, right? Imagine now you work in a business and the guy's calling you and telling you, you are the number one company in the industry. What are you going to tell him? Who am I? We're all the same. Yosef, what does he say as soon as they tell him you're the number one guy in the whole entire world? He says, who am I? What am I? Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who interprets the dreams. Nothing to do with anything. Why is that? Because we see there's a very important concept. The Torah teaches us that humility is the number one character trait a person can have in the whole entire world. Ad kedei kach, the Gemara teaches us that a person who's shafel dat, is a person who puts his head down. He says, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're the one who has the ability to be humble. This is a person that has hemshechiyut b'Torah. A person who wants to have continuation in the Torah and it's going to continue within him, he needs to be a person who knows how to put himself down. For example, the Torah is likened to water, wine, and milk. And milk, that's something else. But water, wine, and milk. Why these three liquids? If I take water, wine, and milk, and I paste it in gold and silver, what's going to happen to it? It's going to rot. What does water, wine, and milk all sit in? Take wine, what does it sit in? Wooden barrels. Take water, plastic. Milk, plastic. You put it into anything else, it's going to go rotten. So to the Torah, who does it sit inside? People who consider themselves less. Not the gold and the zav, look at me, I'm shining, I'm gleaming, I'm gold. Torah survives in a person who says, who am I, what am I? He's a nav. He puts his head down, he understands that there's one thing in the world, that Shekush Baruch Hu is the creator of the whole entire world, and he decides who and what and where and how. If I'm going to be good looking, smart, or anything like that, I didn't get to pick this. You understand what I'm saying to you? No one gets to pick if they're good looking. They come out of the womb, wow, it's not like a video game, you get to pick your character. No, bigger lives, bigger. No, you can't do anything. You can't. You come out of the world, this is what it is. Sometimes you get the bad good deal, right? Intelligence, a smart person. You could be a smart person who has the ability to learn. You could spend his whole life opening a sefer, and some people can. Some people can't. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides who has the abilities. Now, when you have a great ability, when Hashem gave you a good utensil, He says, you know what I'm going to give you? You're going to be very good looking. You'll be very charming. How do you look at it? Yeah, I'm number one, right? Then you're Poshea. What are you talking about? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who gave you everything. You have to know and understand it wholeheartedly, that everything you have in your life, every gift you ever given, was given to you from Hashem. Yosef understood that wholeheartedly, and Yosef is the only man in the Torah that says on him, Ish Yafeh. He was a beautiful guy. The only one that says on him that he was beautiful. Beyond belief. Gorgeous guy. The only one that says on him. We talked about a midrash last week, that the woman, Eshet Potiphar, was telling them, you don't know what I'm going through. I'm sick. I want to be with him so bad. I'm becoming sick. So what would she do? They said, come to my house and you see for yourself. He invited all of her friends over. They're sitting in the kitchen. They're cutting up lemons. And Yosef walks by. And as Yosef walks by, they start cutting the hands. All of a sudden, as Yosef leaves the room, they look down, blood everywhere. Pitom, don't tell me now they were cutting, I don't know, watermelon. They're cutting lemons. You ever had a little tiny cuticle and you got cutting a lemon? Huh? They're cutting their fingers. They don't feel it with citrus over there. Don't tell me it's over there. I don't know. They're sitting here burning. He was so mesmerizing. He was so beautiful that they couldn't take his eyes off of him. He would stand by the gate. The woman would jump up on trampolines to see him. I'm not going to say I know the feeling, but you know what I'm saying, huh? He was one of the most beautiful guys in the whole entire world. And you still see, every reason in the world, smart, genius, strong, dream interpreter, every reason to be Gavtan, come, you know who I am. And not once did he say, you know who I am. He was Nav, put himself down. And guess what? Because of that, comes to Paro, he interprets his two dreams. 7 years of abundance, there's going to be 7 years, you're going to have a lot of food, and 7 years of famine that are so bad. The 7 years of famine are going to be so bad, you won't even remember the 7 years of goodness. That's how bad they're going to be. They're going to come like in a minute. So Yosef tells him, I give you advice. What you should do, you should appoint a wise man, a guy who's smart, put him in charge, that 20% during the 7 years, 20% he puts aside. He's investing into his future. He puts it into a Roth IRA, collecting interest. Take 20% of the food, put it into a place that's going to be able to say and wait for the 7 years of famine. That way we have what to eat. He says, okay, thank you very much. Beautiful dream. Paro gets excited. He says, who's a better guy for the job than Yosef? Think about it. He tells him, appoint a wise man. Everyone in Mitzrayim, not one person was able to interpret his dream. And then comes Yosef, who's wiser than him. So what did Paro tell him? You're the wise guy. I want to put you into the, not wise guy in a bad way, wise guy in a good way. So you're the one I want to put into the position. I want to make you in charge of everything. Now Yosef says, okay, if you want to do it, no problem. What happens? That night, the advisors, you want to say, guys never, non-Jews hate to see Jews succeed. So they see a Jew coming into power, right away they start getting in trouble. They come to Paro and say, listen, you can't put him, he's a slave, he's a this, he's a that. There's 2 rules in Egypt. He has to come from a family of royalty, and he has to have 70 languages. So Paro says, maybe he speaks 70 languages. How do you know he doesn't speak 70 languages? He goes, let's test him tomorrow morning. That night an angel came to Yosef, taught him all 70 languages. What happened? Yosef forgot it. Says the Gemara in Masechet Sotah that Hashem added a letter to his name, hey, Yosef, to his name, and he's able to remember everything. Why did he add a hey to his name? Because he refused to listen to Eshet Potiphar. He didn't want to listen to her when she said, sleep with me 1,000,000 times. Now one time he listened, so Hashem says, oh, you didn't listen there? I'll let you listen here, and now you're going to be able to get it. Measure for measure. And 70 languages. The next morning he comes to Paro, and Paro, the Midrash relates, he had a throne with 70 steps. Every step another language. So he woke up one step, konnichiwa. Next step, hello, I'm calling for the IRS. No, every step, another one. Indian, Hindu, Chickanese, I don't know, all these other languages, yeah? Finally he gets to the 70, Bima, he's standing over there with Yosef, with the Paro, they're looking at each other, and there's no more steps. He goes, my name? Paro looks at him, he goes, huh? He goes, ma kore actually? Ma kore? The guy goes, Paro goes, I don't know what you're saying. What is that? That's a language? He goes, yeah, that's Hebrew. And Paro didn't know Hebrew. So Yosef ended up knowing 71 languages. So he tells him, listen, promise me, you're not going to tell anyone you know one extra language than me. Don't tell anyone, please. I'm the Pharaoh over here. And Pharaoh, he made everyone believe he was a guy. What would he do? He would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to the Nile to use the bathroom. And the rest of the day, he would hold it in. So everyone would think he's a god. You know how I know I'm a god? I don't use the bathroom. Chazaku baruch. Wow. I wakes up early in the morning to go to the Nile to use the bathroom so that nobody sees him going to the bathroom so he can tell people he's a god. So obviously now, here comes a guy, good looking, smart, genius, the whole entire world, and some say that Paro was a midget. But he was a very tiny guy. So comes Yosef, he's tall, and he knows one extra language. So who deserves to be the king? Me. Yosef, I deserve to be the king. I have to promise you one thing. Don't tell anyone you know one thing more than me. Yosef says, okay, I promise. Later on, it comes in handy. We'll talk about it at a different time. But what happened? You see, he finished the 70 languages. And then the advisors say, okay, but he's not from royal family. His mother's not royalty. No? So, oh, wait a second. I have a picture of a woman in the hallway to my bedroom, of a beautiful woman. Who is this beautiful woman? We have to go back in time. Avraham Avinu came down to Mitzrayim, and what happened? Pharaoh stole his wife and married her, and later on he released her. That night he married her, he painted a picture of Sarai Imenu. He had one of his people over there paint a picture of Sarai Imenu and hang it in the hallway to his bedroom. Who was this? His great-grandmother, Yosef's great-grandmother. He calls all the advisors into the hallway. He says, you see this woman? That's his great-grandmother. You see, he is from royalty. He comes from a holy family, royal family. He gets to become the viceroy. And why did in 1 second, Yosef become one of the greatest people in the whole entire world? He became from being a person in jail, prison. Okay? No family, no friends, no nothing. By himself, 12 years alone. His brothers threw him into a ditch, wanted to kill him. And in 1 minute, he becomes the second most powerful guy. As soon as he walked out, as soon as he walked out of the palace, everyone was already bowing down to him. Everyone get up for Yosef. In 1 second, he became one of the wealthiest people in the whole entire world, one of the most powerful people in the whole entire world. We're focusing on this point because it's a very, very important point. We have to understand, as we were talking about before, a person needs to understand where everything in the world comes from. If Hashem wants you to, He'll take you in 1 second and He'll make you the biggest thing in the whole entire world. If He wants you to be rich, in 1 minute He can make you rich. And koshi lakosh baruch. There's not one thing Hashem cannot do. If He wants to make you rich, He'll make you rich. He wants to make you this, He'll make you this. Whatever He wants, He can do in 1 second. And sometimes in life, we have to go down to appreciate the up. Why did Paro appreciate Yosef so much? Because 2 years everyone came and not one person gave him an answer. So when he came after 2 years, after all the koshi, after having nothing there, then he says, this is so much greater now because now I finally have someone who can understand. It's so much greater. Sometimes in life Hashem says, I want to show you what it is not to have in order to show you what it is to have. How do you learn to appreciate something? There's a concept of yin and yang. You ever heard the concept of yin and yang? The light and the dark and the dark and the light? That lightness without dark doesn't exist. Darkness without light doesn't exist. Both ways. You don't know what light is unless you see darkness. You don't know what darkness is unless you see light. Kosh Baruch Hu says, before I give you something good in life, I want you to appreciate it. Sometimes in life I have to bring you down. And therefore from there I will bring you up. Just know every time in life you find yourself in a place where it's down, just know this is a momentum. Hashem is using this as a momentum to bring you back up. Like a roller coaster. Go down, but you're going to come back up. Hashem is going to bring you back up 100% inevitably. But not only that, to understand that Hashem is the one in control of everything. I heard a story of the Baal Shem Tov, one of the biggest Hasidim, one of the starters of the Hasidim movement, the Baal Shem Tov. One time a very rich guy came to Baal Shem Tov. He's sitting by him, and he comes to the Baal Shem Tov and they're talking, and the Baal Shem Tov tells him, one of the biggest rabbis of his time. Okay, back in Poland. Okay? He was one of the biggest rabbis of his time, and he tells this rich man, do you want a bracha? And anyone over here would cut off his left finger for a bracha from the Baal Shem Tov. Guaranteed to come true. And what does the rich man say? Nah, I'm good. What? The Baal Shem Tov is offering you a bracha. You're telling him, nah, I'm good. So the Baal Shem Tov, insist. Maybe for your family, for your wife, for your kids. Somebody. Nah, thank God, we're all good. So Baal Shem Tov sees them to talk to over here. So what does he do? He writes a letter. He says, listen, I know you're from the city of Brody. Do me a favor. Take this letter and drop it off over there to a guy named Mr. Tzadok. He's the head of the charity over there in Brody. And he folds up the letter. The guy puts it in his jacket. He says, anyways, I'm going over there. No problem, I'll give it to him. He puts it in his jacket and he goes back home. On the way home, a guy stops him. Whoa. He starts talking to the guy. Next thing you know, he forgets. 16 years later, this rich man finds himself poor. All the business dealings fell out. He's poor. He doesn't have any way to feed his family. So what does he do? Just rummaging through his things. Maybe I'll sell something. Maybe I won't sell something. What does he end up getting? The jacket. What does he find in the jacket pocket? A letter. He says, oh, I forgot to drop off this letter. He right away runs to someone in the street. Goes to him, you know Mr. Tzadok? You know Mr. Tzadok? Finally one tells him, yeah, we know him. He just became appointed to the head of the charity of the shul. Go, he's over there. And while they're walking, the guy tells them, you should know this Mr. Tzadok who used to be a very poor man. He was a seamster. He would make clothing. He would seam things. He was a very poor man. He said, but one day, one of the generals over there in Poland came to him and he offered him a big contract to make all the uniforms for the army. And Baruch Hashem, he got the contract, became a very wealthy guy. And because he understood what it was to be poor, he ended up giving to everybody charity. So we made him the head of the charity. Today, he's the head of the charity. Wow, what a beautiful story. The guy walks in over there. He sees Mr. Tzadok. He hands him the letter. He opens up the letter. He says, hello, Mr. Tzadok. Congratulations on becoming the head of the charity today. 16 years later. Congratulations on becoming the head of charity today. The man that stands before you used to be very, very wealthy, but now he lost all his money because of his arrogance. Okay? Because of his arrogance, he lost all his money. However, he will become wealthy again. What I ask of you now is to help him, because he has a very big family, a lot of people to feed. Help him, but he will get back on his feet, and this time he will appreciate everything that he has. And the Baal Shem Tov continues. And if you don't believe me, I'll give you a sign. Your wife is pregnant, and she just gave birth to a baby boy today. As soon as he puts down the letter, a guy comes running to the door. Mr. Tzadok, Mr. Tzadok. Your wife gave birth to a baby boy. Hear the story. This is a real story, by the way. Every Shabbat we listen to stories of the Baal Shem Tov. Hear the stories of what the Baal Shem Tov did. It's like ridiculous. 16 years later, he already knew what was going to happen. And he gives the guy. But from here we see two things. One, what's the Gdulah of Tzaddikim? What's the greatness of Tzaddikim? Second thing we see, that Kosh Baruch Hu can take a person, bring him up and bring him down as much time as he wants. But what is it based on? The appreciation a person has for what he was given in his life. As the Mishnah Pirkei Avot says, a special guest came. A special guest made it. 2 seconds, Rabbi will give you an introduction. As we know, and I'll finish with this. Telesakem, we know that Hashem says, the Mishnah Pirkei Avot says, Mier Ashir Sameach Bechelko. Who is a rich person? A person who's happy with what he has in life. How do you become a rich person? It's based on a feeling. What's based on a feeling? We see that Yaakov Avinu had 2 wives, Rachel and Leah. And the Torah says Leah was hated. Right? I ask you a question. If a man hates his wife, he can have with her 6 children? The guys over here who are married, if you hate your wife, you can have with her 6 children? Impossible. I don't know about you. If you hate your wife, you don't want to come home, Bichlal. 7 times out of the week, you're sleeping on the couch. There's 6 children with a woman that you hate. What does it mean that she's hated? Says the Or Chaim, not that she was hated, that she felt hated. She felt hated in comparison to her sister, so that's what made her hated. The Gemara Masechet Nedarim says a person who is poor is considered to be like he's dead. But on the one hand, we said a person who's ashir is a person who's happy in his portion. So you can be a poor guy who's happy and you're wealthy. At the same time, he says you're also dead. Impossible. Chama Vadia, when he started his life, he said, "Pat belechin." We didn't even have bread to eat. We had stale bread to eat when I was in the beginning of my journey. When Chama Vadia came out, and what do you want to say? He's considered to be like dead? Obviously not. So what's the chidush of the Gemara? What is it coming to teach us? Who is a poor person? A person who feels like he's poor. He can be the biggest millionaire in the whole entire world. He can feel like I have everything in the whole entire world, but he feels like he's poor. Who's a rich person? A person who understands that everything I have, I appreciate, I love, I'm thankful for. That's what makes me rich. How do you get to the point where you're able to appreciate everything you had? When you understand that everything comes from Hashem. If everything comes from a higher power, if everything that happens to your life comes from a higher power, then you know that you're in the right hands. You know that you're in good hands. That's the ikar of what we have to take away from all of this right now. And I want to bring up right now someone that I owe a big akarat tov to, that I wouldn't be here today without him. We want to welcome up Rabbi Palacci to come speak and say a few words.
First of all, it's an honor to be here. We saw Rabbi Bendel grow from where he was till now. It's such a simcha to see. It's a joy. It's every rabbi's dream to see the growth that he was until now. It's an amazing thing. It's just in life we have to learn from Rabbi Bendel. What did he do? He kept on growing and growing and growing and didn't stop. It's not enough. Very good. You got to stage 1. Then you get to stage 2. Then you get to stage 3. Then you're on a stage where you're giving shiurim. It's not only Rabbi Mendel, it's all of you. Every one of you one day, whether it be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I'd love to see you get up and say Drushim. There's so many people out in Bnei Yisrael, they need us. They need us. Who's giving shurim? You know how many people are out there that need help? Who's grabbing them off the street? Who? Tell me who. It's us. It's every one of you. Every person over here knows a friend or two, or three, a cousin, a relative, a brother-in-law, a brother. You know them. They're not going to class. Bring them in. Pull them in. You can do it. You can make it happen. You have the power within. Because I have news for you. None of us have any power. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's giving us the power. And when He sees what we're doing for His children, He automatically gives you super turbocharge. You ever play the video games, you have turbocharge. Oh, now he's on fire. I know NBA Jam back in the day. All right? Now he's on fire every shot he takes. So that's what it is. You're on turbocharge. Yeah, you have that power. Everyone in this room, they can influence others. Don't sell yourself short in life. A lot of times people say, no, I can't do it. Not me. Don't say that. Say, how can I? Because you have it within you. You have to believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to believe it. If you don't believe in you yourself, then nobody's going to believe. They can read right through you. Oh, you don't really think that you don't really, No. You really got, I could do it. I can make it happen. I can make an influence. You know, how does a person become happy? How do you become happy? Everybody's looking for this happy. This guy's thinking, how do you be happy? How do you be happy? People think, oh, what's happening? How do you be happy? What's going to be? Right? How do you be happy? So I'll tell you. Very, very simple. I was by a house once. I love this story with a passion. I'm sitting on a Friday night meal, and a big Rosh Yeshiva comes sits with us in the meal. And he tells me a story. So what's the story? This story of a very, very wealthy guy. We're talking about hundreds of millions. So what happened? He tells the Rabbi, my wife isn't happy. He says, what do you mean your wife's not happy? My wife isn't happy. He says, Rabbi, I give her everything. I give her whatever she wants. Jewelry, watches. Rabbi, she has a watch literally every day of the week she could change her watch. And each watch, at least $100,000 each watch. One day rose gold, one day with diamonds on the side, one day this, one day every watch she has. Rabbi, I'm loaded. But I don't know why my wife is not happy. What should I do? Give me advice. You're the Chacham. Tell me. What should I do? You know what the rabbi said? The rabbi said, the biggest happiness that you can have is when you help other people. That's the biggest happiness that you can have. You're looking back, wow, when you come and you see, I helped this person out. This is the biggest simcha that you yourself have. Wow. When you help other people out. Now, you know what she did? What did this lady do? Says, Rabbi, if that's the case, okay, I'm going to start something. What'd she start? She started a gown gemach. Ever hear of a gown gemach? What's a gown gemach? A gown gemach is that any lady that was young lady getting married, she couldn't get a gown. She goes to this rich lady. This lady first started with one, and she bought the gown fitted for her. Then it started with another one. Then it started with another one. After a year, she had about 20 brides coming that they needed gowns. She ended up collecting 20 gowns, and she has a whole rack. Whatever size, whatever style, whatever look, whatever this, whatever color. Wild. And eventually what happened was, she had a condition. We give you the gown on one condition. I'm invited to your wedding, and I come and I come to the wedding. Every bride is like, yeah, I'm so happy. Come. And this lady, this wealthy lady, would sit and see the bride march down. And she got so much simcha. I was able to help a bride on her wedding day. Isn't that simcha? Or what? To have a nice steak? Which is simcha? Which one? Nice crazy car. Oh, look at this, tinted window. Ford, whatever you can think of. Ferrari, that's great. One time, I remember 2 years ago, I had a student, he got a Ferrari, red Ferrari, because I'm picking you up. It's like, no, I'm good, I'll get around. No, I'm picking you up. I come to the Ferrari, I'm not even joking, I'm sitting in the Ferrari. I'm telling you this, I couldn't enjoy it. I'm sitting down, I feel like I'm on the floor, I'm this, what's going on? Holding the thing, is going on. Like, everybody's looking at you, what's going on? We got it. The door opens like this, I can't open the door regular, what's going on? You're like, couldn't do it. What's simcha? What's simcha? Simcha is when you're productive in life. Simcha is when you're accomplishing in life. This is the simcha. When you come here and learn Torah, this is the simcha. You feel accomplished. You walk out, you feel like, rejuvenated. I did something. I did it. I did something. I went to Shur Torah. You know how many come Friday night table? Let's hear it. What'd you hear today? Why don't you say it over on the Friday night table? Shabbat day. You know, Friday nights now, forget about it. You have 6 hours on the table. What are you going to do? Eat biz and a heki balash? What are you going to do? Sit there and say something in the Terush. No, Jimmy. Say something. Say something. This is what it is. This is what's life about. This is the Simchat Chaim. This is the Simchat Chaim. How do you become happy? Everybody's looking for happiness over here. You know how you look for happiness? Very simple. It's very not hard. It's being productive with your life, feeling accomplished, going out on a goal. And it could be in any situation, anything that you want to accomplish. There was a lady, she became tzniut. She became tzniut many years ago. You know what she did? A relative of mine, a cousin, 20 years ago, she took a jeans skirt and she made it, jeans pants. She made it into a jeans skirt and she still has it in a closet. So what are you doing? You ready 20? She says, no, I'm saving this. It was in the beginning, it was so hard for me, but now I feel so accomplished. I was able to overcome my Yetzer Hara. And now I'm tzniut fully. And I want all my kids to know when they get older, look, this is mommy. Mommy was wearing that, but now mommy's wearing this. And it was difficult, but this is the simcha that I have. Now I accomplished my goal. I beat the Yetzer Hara. I feel strong. I feel proud. How great it is about tefillin, where a guy, someone doesn't put tefillin every day. And all of a sudden now he's putting tefillin every single day. And he's feeling good. Wow, I did it. I did it. Every soldier out there, you see them. I don't walk without. The guy could be, who knows what. He says, my tefillin, I don't go a day without putting tefillin. You know bulletproof vests? You know what they have now? You know what they have on the bulletproof vests? Tzitzit. You didn't see the video going out? The tzitzit. The guy's going out in the army selling tzitzit. What is this? This is the bulletproof vest. And it's true. And it's true. I saw my own eyes a big accident that happened. I saw my own eyes. And I actually was in the Hatzalah truck with this man, and I went to the hospital. And we went to the hospital because I was at the scene. I was at the scene. And what they do in an accident, if anybody haven't knows should ever be in an accident, what they do is right away, they don't wait to undress the shirt. The guy could have the craziest shirt. You think they're going to, this is Gucci, let's unbutton it? They don't do that. He's wearing a Hashuvi Canali. No. What do? They take the thing, they just cut it. They don't care. They go, you know? It's like the fireman, like the door. You can just open up the door. No. Boom! You know, this is a brand new door. I just got the fire. Boom! One guy was telling me this, just tell him I live on the block. Just tell him about fire. Open up the door. It's like this. It's open. Then he comes in and they broke it. It's a true story, man. It's on our block. It happened this week. On the shul's block. He broke it. He told me, you think they wait? They cut the shirt right away. They cut the shirt right away. And when I was there, you know what he had, this man? You know what this man had? This man had the tzitzit. He had the tzitzit. The doctor's whatever. The guy's cutting the thing. He's like, what is this? What is it? What's going on? What are the strings and this? Imagine, think about it, non-Jewish guy saying, what is the strings and this and that? What's going on over here? He says, no, you're not understanding. This is my bulletproof vest. My bulletproof vest. I got saved from the accident with the tzitzit. Tzitzit, tefillin. That's what it is. Every day, you're waking up. What are you waking up? You know how we started the minyan in Brooklyn? You know how we started? How he started in Minyan? It was a few boys. Every single day, they were going to the Bronx. No joke. Jack Khalifa, your brother, right? They were going to the Bronx, and that's what they were doing. So you know what I told them? I said, why don't you come see all your boys in the morning, make a Minyan, and then go. And that's how the Minyan started. So Rabbi, that's the smartest thing. Hashem set it up for us. He set it up for us. Every morning, all the boys come together, tefillin, tzitzit, Minyan, gaze around, have a coffee, have a bagel, and yalla, work. Go, yalla, right? The boys, just the boys. What happens? You automatically feel energy, and you start your day a different way. That rhymes, right? You start your day, you get energy, you start your day a different way. That's what it is. And therefore, everybody has to understand. You have to understand, accomplish, grow. Set goals for yourself, how you want to improve. Set goals. I don't know your goals. You know your goals. Sadiq Yodeh Nefesh Be'em Tov. You know what you want to accomplish in life. Get to the next level. Rabbi Bendel, he didn't stay on one level. He went to the next, and then the next, and then the next, and the next. Now he's telling me he wants to do full kollel all day. I know where he was when he was 15, 16. I know where he was exactly. We had a deal one day, 15, 16. We're like, he walked from Bensonhurst, maybe 6 miles, to come shiur. I said, what happened? So Rabbi, I gave you my word. My word is my word. That's what it is. But he didn't stop there. That's not the point. Wow. The point is that he didn't stop. The point is that he said, I want to grow more. The point is where he says, how can I take it to the next level? And then look how he feels. He feels so good inside. How good do you feel inside? No money in the world could pay for this simcha. Rabotai, take it in, enjoy it, set goals for yourself, accomplish them. If a person's not putting tefillin every day, start. If a lady's not tefillin, start. If a person's not keeping Shabbat, start. Do something. Get it going. You have it within you. You can do it. You can get others as well to do it. What is this? Oh, Rabotai, I just wanted to finish the shiur. You should just know there was a great young man in the community. His name was, everybody knows Mike. Mike Mier ben Marta. You know, he used to come to the shiurim. And all the time, he had a chen. You know chen? You know what chen is? You see the guy has a charm, special charm. He had that charm. He had the charm, you know? And everybody knew him. Automatically, they saw Mike. They saw a charm. It clicked. Right away, automatic. And you know when he was in shiur, I'll tell you, he was with many shiurim. He wouldn't just listen to the shiur. He was always analyzing it. At the end of the class, Rabbi, what about this? Rabbi, what about that? What if we do this? What if we do that? That's how Mike was. That's how he was. He was analytic because he wanted to grow. He wanted to know. He wanted to get to the next levels. And we spoke a lot. I feel very bad. I was like inside of me. It's still like when I mention his name, when I think about him, it's like, hello. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But this is a person who always wanted growth. He didn't want to stop, and he was always asking questions. How can I grow? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I have more bitachon, more emunah, more? He was a great man. And therefore, Rabotai, we have to grow in life. The more we accomplish, the more happy we'll be. B'ezrat Hashem be zocheh for only good things. Which is Yismachot, Mashiach should come b'mirav b'menu. Amen.